Hello everyone, hopefully you are doing well. It's Tech Talk time, which basically means we go through all of the comments of the last Tech Talk, while also just playing some games on a Sunday. It's good to relax on Sundays. I think it's pretty important to do so it's nice to do it. And we'll do the Battle of the Atlantic stuff, and then we'll probably work on some other things as well, while we're on it in the background, so I can show you some submarine stuff and a few others. I think it's fair to say it's been an incredibly eventful week when it comes to War Thunder. You got the sales, you got the TOG being announced, you have, of course, a lot of the other stuff which is going on, like the submarine event. They really went ham when it came to this week. I would have generally preferred if they'd kind of maybe spread it out a little bit, just maybe a little bit of it. But since the questions are from last week, we'll probably not have as much of chat of that, so we'll have to see. Hey, Regular K Serial, nice to see you. But yeah, so if you have any questions or comments or whatever for the next week, make sure to stick them in the description of the in the comments section of the thing, so we can have a look through them and kind of go from there. So simple as that. We have Maxwell doing the pinned comments, which is very kind of him. It's always lovely to see that stuff and to see people doing it. So thank you very much for that, as always. And then let's get into the first one. This is from BQ Eventer Guy. BQ Eventer Guy. Let's just shoot this guy. I don't know what he's doing. Seems to be okay just getting shot. The submarine stuff is a bit odd right now. We'll see how it goes and how people go for it. Hey Tech, don't have a question. Just want to say that watching your videos while playing the Thunder has helped me with some of my depression from being a paramedic and led me to being one of your new Patreon subscribers. So thanks for what you're doing and keep up the good work. Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you. But we were actually talking about EMT stuff earlier, and I can't believe the stuff you guys go through, man, and the fact that you hardly get paid for it as well compared to what you go through. Like, I used to, yeah, what I'll do is I'll just put the sound down a bit. I used to live in Calgary when I was at university, and basically what I used to run into was some ENT stuff. Not because I was getting myself injured or whatever, but because of the fact that I lived next to two EMTs. So they were in a relationship together, and they would talk a lot about what they used to run into, if I'm honest with you. And it wasn't very fun a lot of the time. Basically, what would end up happening is I got a lot of respect for those guys and what they had to do basically every day, because of just the hours that they had to do, the timings that they also had to do, and also just the stuff they had to deal with. I always felt like it was one of those jobs which was extremely underappreciated, and still do to this day. A lot of people always talk about like the police having to deal with stuff, or doctors having to deal with stuff, or anything like that, but everybody always forgets the EMTs, and it just makes me really sad, because they're at the end of the day, they are the frontline people. So the fact that you have just hardly any recognition for what they go through, it is very much a solid crazy job. The other thing as well that has always made me pretty sad is they always talked about the fact that everybody had a vice, whether it was like alcohol or whether it was like smoking or drugs or whatever, but there was always something which each person had, which would kind of be used as a release for the stuff that they had to go through. And you know, that just sucks. Like, I don't know how else to put it. That's never what you want to hear, right? So yeah, I have EMTs have my utmost respect with what they have to go through. And I feel like it's one of those things that it's very hard to explain to people. I have some crap in my eye. It's very hard to explain to people what it's like without seeing it firsthand, which can be pretty tough. I think I scratched my eye earlier. There we go. Oh, I need to aim a bit lower. Yeah, thank you for the patron stuff as well. It means that I can, you know, do a few more things and upgrade a few things here and there, which is the main use for the patron stuff. It's to put back into the community and also try and push forward with some ideas. Next year we're going to be investing in a bunch of stuff that'll make stuff like that be very much worth it, which will be good. There we go. So then we have Jerry. Let's see what Jerry says when it comes to what's going on. What is the life of the Jerry Meister? Gaijin should add in historical matchmaking for a day to show people who asked for it that it wouldn't work. I mean, fair enough. Also, I'm trying to grind the Russian tree. Should I buy the T55AM1 or the T72 terms? I feel like the T55 would be easier to get kills in since it's a lower BR, but I have the BMP2M and the SU25K to go along with the terms. I would personally probably just go with the terms at that point if you already have all that stuff. Technically, the T55AM for its BR is a better vehicle than the terms is at its BR. I think the terms has always had some stuff which is busted with it. You know, obviously the thermals are nice and the round is really nice, but I've never liked the platform, and I've never liked a lot of the other stuff around it. So for me, I don't see it as a really cool thing. I just see it as a vehicle that has access to some niceties, but mostly has a lot of problems, and it kind of catches a lot of players out. The T55 is definitely easier to use. Like that's a definite at the end of the day, and also at the same time, I would say the terms will serve you better just because of the whole thing with how these things scale over time, right? Because the vehicle itself, once they add in like rank 8, obviously the T55 will lose some of its usefulness, whereas the other one won't. So that's what I would say about it in general. Oh boy, hello. So many mines in the line here. Mine behind. But yeah, this is basically how I see this event, by the way. Just to let you know. I just like walk into the enemy spawn and then just do silly things. It seems to work. So and we just toss all of these. And this guy misses his torpedoes because they're under. I suppose I'm showing you what the destroyer gameplay is like. Goodbye. I think the detection's a little bit ridiculous. Personally. Just as a point. There we go. So yeah, that's the 1500 score pretty much done then. Hey Swinty, nice to see you. Hey, that looked cool. But I would honestly say that the historical matchmaking stuff, they don't even have to like just apply it to everything. You know what they could do? They could just bring back a World War II Chronicles. Just do that. Just bring it back for a day. or bring it back for like an event. And then what they need to do is just screenshot all of the people who constantly complain about all that, and also thingy statistics, like also show all of the statistics of how many people were playing each side. That's all they got to do. Like, the nothing else. You don't have to do anything crazy. You know, you don't have to like make stuff. You don't have to make stuff, you know, too arduous on the players. You just do that, and then you just like you back up all of the decisions you make with statistics. Like, that's all. If they do that, it'll be fine. This also here kind of shows how easy it is to miss a lot of the torpedoes. Ooh. Maybe if they picked a vehicle which didn't have as much AA and stuff like that, maybe that would have worked better. I don't know. So then we have a username, I guess. So let's see what username, I guess, says. Hey Tech, hope you're well. I've been waiting years for South African aviation to the game, like the Atlas Cheetah or the Impala, but there is no news of them arriving anytime soon. So I was wondering when you think they will be added. Thank you for what you do for us. Love from South Africa. Love from Canada, brother. I honestly think, like, when it comes to that stuff, I think they'll come in as like event vehicles. And the reason why I think that is just because I can't think of a single indigenous South African, like South African, like aviation vehicle. I understand that there have been vehicles that have been heavily modified that have gone to South Africa. But if you compare it to their ground vehicles, right? Their ground vehicles are incredibly different in size and stature and the way that they're set up compared to like all of the other ones, right? So my feeling is with that is they're just gonna do it so they are they're just gonna do it so those vehicles are event vehicles or something similar to that. I'd be really surprised if they did anything else. I would like to see those types of vehicles. I think Jesus Christ. I think it would be really cool to see them, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. I actually have technically a set of vehicles a set of videos about the South African stuff that I'm kind of waiting to throw in when they decide to start, you know, talk or like bringing in at least one of them. But I'll be insanely surprised if it ever is something that is not just a event vehicle or something similar to that. Like, if it is something which actually ends up being like a whole tech tree for like Britain or something like that, it would just kind of blow my mind. Which sucks because, you know, they do have a lot of cool vehicles and everything. It's just they're not vehicles which would really fit in an individual tech tree, and I don't think Britain needs those vehicles, because at that point you're basically making Britain, you know, kind of more of what it is now, which is, you know, kind of a multi-role, multitude nation. I think it's not really required for Britain to do stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully we see him soon. My guess would be maybe in like a couple years. I don't think we'll see it anytime soon. Is the Khalid worth picking up? No, just get the Roycat 105. You'll have a much better time. So then we have just for YT. New idea for a game mechanic. So if your tank is a hull-mounted MG like the Tiger II, and there is a crew member who is stationed there, when the commander dies, he can take over the MG that the commander has control of, but he doesn't fully control the commander jobs. He just takes control of the MG and nothing else. Sorry. I mean, you could do that. Sorry, just need a drink. The problem with doing that though is you're limiting the usability of the vehicle. The way that it works right now is crew skills are kind of averaged across the base. So what that what that basically means is technically your whole crew averages out all of the crew skills across them. So they're all technically trained in that setting. So once you lose one of them, it reduces the number through, dividing by however many it is. So that's kind of how it works. So the way that War Thunder works is a machine gunner is trained in exactly the same way as a commander, and so on and so forth. Like, so you could technically change that if you wanted to, but it would just kind of limit the players. And the question you got to ask yourself is, do you want to do that? Do you want to kind of limit? Do you want to kind of limit what people have access to? Is that a good thing to do, or is it better to not do that? And that's the question that I know recently, especially in War Thunder, we've been adding a lot of mechanics that are limiting, or a lot of like realistic things which are limiting to vehicles. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that stuff, but I know for a fact that there's a lot of people who are, so I don't know. I would rather have it that people had opportunities to have access to more stuff, so therefore they could, they could kind of show their skill level. So limiting is not always something, or hardly ever something, that I'm interested in that way. Damn. Alright. So we have NYCO Yaks, or Nico Yaks. Hello, Tech. Hi. To follow up on my question, I just find colors in your gameplay much more vibrant, like explosions, more on the orange side compared to what I have. Also, when you spray someone with MGs and the P47, the ammo can be seen very easily, whereas I barely see my bullet shells I fire. Guess it's the monitor then? Yeah, it could be. I use a Sansui monitor. But yeah, my post FX are just this nowadays. I don't do anything crazy. If I want it to look nice, I do this. But yeah, I don't usually do this because you can see how like high def it looks, right? Like it looks really nice. I don't usually do this because it means I can't really see anything, and also it sometimes gets a lot. It gets a lot dark in, like, the shadows get super dark, right? Which is a bit of a problem. Like you can see here, like it's pretty dark. But that's how, if I want the game to look nice, that's what I do. And then the traces look super bright as well, and everything looks cool. But I think it might just be down to monitors. Did I quit the TikTok thing? I've been seeing a large group of Warthund players doing stuff on there now. I didn't quit it. Just don't have time for it. The issue with TikTok and every other social media thing is, since I do all this stuff not for monetary gain, I do this stuff for fun. If it, like, because of how like the economic situation is in not just Canada, but many areas in the world right now, I've had to prioritize spending my time, making money instead of other things. So what that pretty much means is stuff which is secondary or auxiliary that don't really make anything on that point, and also have no opportunity of making anything in the future, that gets cut. So a bunch of the extra stuff that we've done in the past is not being done at the moment. And it will be starting to get done in January, because I've come to an agreement with somebody to manage that part of things. And it's not like a company or anything, it's just an individual. And so all of that stuff will start going ahead over that time. And it'll be set up in a way so everything that's made from it, that individual will get. So if any money is made from it, if any sponsorships or what goes through it, then they get done, right? So that's how it's all being set up. The issue right now is I can't do that because I just don't have time. I got to a point where the TikTok stuff took maybe like an hour, 2 hours a week to do. So to a lot of people, that should easily be done, right? But just to give you an example of this week, I haven't had like an hour to myself. Like everything, I haven't even streamed that much compared to usual this week because there's just been so much other stuff going on. And yeah, I can't take as much time off as I could do before because now economically it makes less sense to do so. So yeah, I would like to do all of that stuff. I think it's really fun to do all that stuff, and also it means that I can do I can do it on multiple areas, right? Because you can technically create the same stuff in different places, but the problem is time. Time is a cruel mistress, as we all know. But hopefully, going forward, it will be sorted. Hey, Leon G, nice to see you. Hopefully you're doing good. Alright, let's go this way. Do-do-do-do-do. Oh, it shouldn't be too bad. Oh. Alright, submarine gameplay. Now it's easier to look at questions. And we have Carl Marion. Hey Tech, hope you're well. Yeah, I'm doing good. My lower back is seized, but that's because I went too heavy on probably weights and stress. Usually I get stress pains, and that's how it manifests. But apart from that, yeah, I'm good. I could swear I remember once playing a game mode similar to Rush from Battlefield here in War Thunder, respawning using Silver Lions. A game mode like that, but only once in a while, like EC and Ground could be fun. They've tested it a few times. There was an event maybe last year. They made they did an event. I think it was either last year or this year, where it was kind of like a gradual. You took like one cap, and then your spawn points like move forward, and then you like did that over and over again. So they did do that as a test, which I'm guessing is what Rush is. The issue with it though, got down the motion blur. I don't have motion blur on. So they did add that in. Technically, Simulator is also set up like that, right? Like you have to pay SL to spawn stuff in, but there is like a spawn point system too for aviation, so it's not as simple as that. So those things are about. The problem with the Rush one, as I said, is it just doesn't really fit War Thunder, just because of the speed of gameplay, and it's something we've discussed a lot with how War Thunder works and how all of that stuff works. It's just a lot of games that people compare War Thunder to and want game modes from is they are fast-paced FPSs, right? Like Battlefield is a fast-paced FPS. So is Modern Warfare. So is any other game that you can think of that people think about like modes from. Halo, for example, like capture the flag. And the War Thunder gameplay is not that. It never has been, never will be, and it's something that has to always be understood. when we talk about these things. And I feel like it's never the thing brought up. Like in Battlefield, you can respawn instantaneously, you can be picked up by a medic, you have constant action all the time. And in War Thunder, that's not the case. There's actually quite a lot of it that is just setup. Now, nowadays, in War Thunder, especially the higher echelons of the game, it is more of an arcade shooter. It is more of a reaction based, let me pop my not Ritalin. Let me pop my whatever ADHD med is and just go in and. But most of the game still isn't that, and it never will be. Like, it's just not designed for that. See you later, Tugnuts. Look after yourself. It's the bubbles. When you move the camera, they behave like you, would have motion blur turned on. Oh, that's kind of weird. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, it's just it's just how the game is set up because of the speed of the vehicles and also, the fact that you don't die over and over and over again quickly, right? Like Enlisted, all those modes work in Enlisted because once again it's a fast-paced FPS. And that's just how this goes every time. So, yeah. Just how it be. But they do try different modes every once in a while. People talk about, if they like them or if they don't like them. And generally, at least for me, when it comes to that stuff, like, I feel like it's good that they try different things. I think it's always positive to do so. Kind of like this stuff, right? Like the naval side of things. Then we have Type 10. So let's have a look at what Type 10 has to say today. Hello, Tech. I've been using my new F4 EJ Phantom and realizing how much of a disadvantage you are in without Agile Eagle. Basically anything will dogfight you except F104s and maybe a Tornado. I remember when I joined Phantoms and MiG-21s with the top tier jets almost 4 years ago. Now they're obsolete airframes with good weapons. Weird how we came to F-16s and MiG-29s in 2023. Imagine telling that to a War Thunder player in 2019, that we're going to get all these jets in 2023. I'm going to go for the EJ Kai over the F-16 AJ because I love the Phantoms. I tried to dogfight an F-16 in my Phantom to see how bad it would do, and it ended a complete disaster as expected. I almost lose my mind when people do not turn off their afterburner when invading a missile. I'm also grinding China. When my friends play with me, China looks pretty strong. Also, why nerf the M735? It hurts the Type 16P. Have a nice day. So, yeah. A lot of people still don't really use a lot of IR guided stuff. Or they don't use a lot of semi-active stuff in the higher echelons. So a lot of it turns into just dogfighting over and over and over and over again, right? It's just kind of how it goes. So for me, when I think about that stuff and how it's set up, like generally it's not too bad, and the metas shift consistently. The big change in Aerialistic was the F-14 being added, because it was the first time I feel like they added something because of a movie and because of the like the pseudo advertising they could do about it, and also the cross platform, like the cross platform setup for it. So, and what ended up happening is it broke the game for like a year. So, fun times. I feel for me that when I think about stuff like that, I generally wonder. Well, I know exactly what they're thinking. I just disagree with what they're saying. Right? Like that's the thing at the end of the day. Like they just they sit and go, okay, well, it's something that we've got to do because now everybody likes it, or now they can take advantage of it, but it just breaks the game whenever they do it. It just kind of sucks. I just wish it wasn't the case. Hey Mama Huevo, the wedding was good. It was a lot of fun, man. Enjoyed it a lot, so glad to be part of it. We'll go into it a bit more. Very true, Han, yeah. Before then they were just completely useless. But yeah, it's a nuts thing at the end of the day. How all this stuff works. Alright, I hit that guy. Did it not destroy him? Did only one of my, like, things go off? That's kind of weird. Oh, he's listing. Never mind. We'll just shoot at this guy. But yeah, the cool thing about War Thunder in general is that the top tier constantly changes, like, all the time. And that means that if there is something that you don't enjoy, or if there is something that, well, even if you do enjoy, wow, well, that was fun, wasn't it? Well, basically, uh, but basically, at the end of the day, it's just something you have to vibe with, right? And then eventually, what will happen is the higher echelon will get so high that you won't have to deal with that, and then you can just kind of go onto the. You can still play those vehicles and actually have fun with them. And then the F-16s become useless because then they start facing stuff like F-15s and Raptors and stuff like that. Like it's like an ongoing circle at high tier, you know. Thank you for the subscription, JW. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Hi Tech, you recently posted a video about the addition of Iran and Iranian vehicles to the game. Due to the current world politics, I feel like the addition of such countries at this time would be hyperbolic. I'm not opposed to the vehicles themselves, but the addition of Iran as a country would not be good for the game. When the addition of this country caused more problems for a game that is already struggling with classified documents and other issues. I mean, the issue is, JW, I mean, you're doing that thing that people do, where you're putting your personal beliefs on top of what the company should do. And since War Thunder is an apolitical company, they shouldn't care about what's going on in world politics. You're Jewish, and I get you don't like what's going on right now because of what's happening in Israel, and I'm completely on your side when it comes to these things. But like, don't start this collectivization we thing again, especially when it comes to a video game. Like it's one of those things that shouldn't ever, like, when thinking about a topic and what should or shouldn't be added to a video game, the things that should not be taken into account from an individual's point of view is the current world political situation. Many people could have also said that Israel should have never been added to the game because of their current world political situation too, right? It's just the fact that some people are on one side of the argument and some people are on the other. Like, for example, let's say if you had an Iranian guy who comes along and goes, Israel shouldn't be in the game, but Iran should. Maybe what we should do is, just like we do in every other form of life, or should at least do in every other form of life, is try and separate the people who are personally involved in the issue from the people who actually make the decisions on these things. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a situation where everything is going to be heavily biased towards one side or the other, which is going to create a shift and a schism between both sides, and you're never going to be able to please either. And if you even do start pleasing one, you will create a rebellion in the other, which is how all these things always go. So then we have Away With You, Valbeggar. Boo and happy holidays, Tech. Happy holidays. Oh yeah, it's Halloween, isn't it? Ooh, spooky, scary skeleton time. With the removal, the Port Novo, I wanted to have a discussion about maps today. Fair enough. I believe it's safe to assume that the map was removed for actual balance reasons. In my opinion, the main culprits were, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. The B point and how easy it was for the southern team to cap and hold it, the camping problem which existed on both sides but was more prevalent in the north, the standstill that would happen for neither team wanting to risk B. This takes me to the main subject that I want to discuss. When is a map unbalanced, broken, aka Gadget's fault, and when is it the team's fault? Well, here we go. So let's start off with this. So the weird thing is, I completely agree with you on all of the stuff with Port Novo. I'm in 100% agreement, which is why when when Gaijin made that statement about how there was no issues with Port Novorossiysk when it came to the central point in that Q&A that they did, they said that the heat map showed that there was a lot of movement in that central area, and it wasn't the stalemate that everybody said that it was. Which is great. And then they removed it. Kind of hinting towards maybe there was a problem. So, I don't know. It just seems odd. Like, from my point of view, there was a huge issue with Bravo. And there was a huge issue when it came to the southern team. Because in order for you to get anywhere in the map, you had to cross 2 dead zones on a second spawn. Which, you know, if people were sat in that camping line, near which they could get to within like 2 seconds of their own spawn, you were done. Like, you couldn't do anything. You were just stuck there, right? So that happened. That existed. And, but they said that it wasn't a problem and the map had a lot of mobility. And I remember just sat there looking at the Q&A, because I think it was the CC Q&A, and I just went, no, sorry, I just do not believe you at all. You are lying to my face about this, because I've played that map enough. And I remember saying, okay, if that's the case, and you know, if that is the case, I'm fine with it. Show me the heat maps, because I do not fundamentally believe you. And most of the time, when it comes to like the Gaijin stuff and what they say about certain things and how it's all set up, I do generally believe them. Because the vast majority of the time, you know, the logic stands up, what they talk about is fair, and usually it works well, right? This was one of those cases where, no, it was one of those which was like, I need to see some data. Like, I need to see something on this. You can't say this to me, because I do not, like, the way that I've seen the map played, the way that everything goes, I do not believe you. Which is the situation we're in now. But then they removed it. So I'm guessing there was problems, but I don't think they've written anywhere what the issue was, or if there was an issue. But I mean, if they've removed it, surely there must have been an issue, right? But who knows? Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. The second point. For me, plenty of maps are unbalanced. Yeah, I need to swing around my submarine. Otherwise, we'll never get anything on. There we go. I'm just playing the objective. I don't want to fight the destroyers right now. There we go. So for me, plenty of maps are unbalanced, but the best example of team brain rot is on Conquest, Assault on the Rhine. But without fail, if I look at the minimap, I see the most people, everyone in a losing team did a conga line on the left side of the map. They give up B and C to fight the same spot over and over again, thank God, in the new research boost. Then they wonder how any decent player will take advantage of the free flank that leads to some juicy booty. Obviously, there's plenty to talk about, but I'll expand on it next time if needed. Until then, you have a good time. TEC. I will do. You too, man. But no, I completely understand what you're talking about. So the interesting thing about it is it's chicken or the egg, right? So, but also let's put this into kind of perspective. Gaijin makes map and balance decisions based off statistics that they get from their player base, right? That's a given. We know that's a fact. They put in some personal opinion. They put in some standard opinions every once in a while. But the main thing that they do is they focus on player feedback and also player stats, right? So they probably do exactly the same thing when it comes to the maps. So they look at all of the heat maps, they look at how much each side or how well each side is doing, and then they work out what they want each side to do, and try and get it 50-50. Yeah, that's how they must do it, because there's really no other way that you can do it from that point. So you have all this stuff going on. Like you have all that stuff going on with it, and my guess is they have a situation. Can you reload torpedoes, by the way, in this mode? Or am I just, like, done? So they probably have a situation where what ends up happening is they look at where everybody goes and then kind of go from there. You can reload torpedoes? Does it just do it over time? It's a bug when you're below. Okay, so I need to go up. Oh, there we go. Okay. So it is reloading, it's just not telling me. So, interestingly, no matter what happens with this situation, Gaijin are going to be basing their changes off player feedback. So, I don't expect Gaijin to ever get everything right first time, especially when it comes to maps. They're definitely a lot better at it than they were previously, but the reason for that is because of, once again, player feedback. So the player feedback that they're getting from average players is going to cause certain things, like people going to meta positions or moving around from meta positions. So that's no surprise to me how it goes. So everything they do is based off of that. Should it be based off of that? Most of the time, yes. When they're creating maps now, they're doing it to a bog standard. And that standard is based off stats that have gone around previously, which, once again, work. There is one problem with this, though. And it's something that has stuck in my mind for many years, and it was from the creative director of the guy from World of Tanks. And it made me start thinking about these things in a more proactive way. So, he said in an interview with Sircon, who is a World of Tanks streamer / YouTuber, the problem is that it takes about 6 months to properly balance a vehicle, right? So if you want a vehicle which is 100% there and sorted out, you need to wait for 6 months. That's how much data is needed to be able to put together all that, right? Now imagine if you keep adding vehicles and if you keep adding stuff over and over and over and over again all the time. I can't turn because I just got bombed by a plane. So imagine you do that, right? Imagine you constantly add stuff all the time and you don't let the game kind of breathe, which is what it needs to do, right? So all of the data that you are collecting on these things is going to be so many months behind, right? So yeah, you're always going to be there are always going to be things that you're going to be catching up on, whether it comes to like maps or whether it comes to metas or any of this stuff. And in War Thunder, the meta changes so often because of the amounts of stuff that they add to the game. It's just going to keep going, you know? Sounds good, JW. See you later, brother. Look after yourself. Hopefully you're doing alright, man. Chat to you soon. But yeah, so you have this situation where, like, what are you supposed to do? I don't know. Just keep chugging, I suppose. Hey, Will Parker, nice to see you. I have a new dumb friend War Thunder request. They want smoke to be less effective against thermals if they are lower BR. What? What does that even mean? Hey, we got a dinghy. Nice. So, if a vehicle is at lower BR, then they don't get as affected. But if they have thermals at that lower BR, they don't get as affected by the smoke. Surely it should be the other way around. Because you have the advantage of having the thermals. Like Cold War vehicles having bad smoke. Yeah, but the smoke's effectiveness hasn't like improved over time. They've just changed what it's made out of, so it doesn't, you know, fucking burn people alive. Smoke has always been pretty effective. I don't know. Maybe it's just something I just don't see. Maybe I'm maybe I'm not part of the true. Millennium. But yeah, I don't know. Smoke technically is less effective at lower BRs because it's smaller canisters and smaller smoke shells. Because you got smaller thingies. You know, smaller canisters. Well, I don't know. So we have Project AG. Subtech. Sub. Wonder if leaving an RRB joke got me thinking. I'm not sure it was a feature, but I remember you could play with only one plane in RRB, but if you go back to the base and repair, then you J out, you can switch to another plane. Though it could be me, it might be the case for RRB, back when I used to play it more at low BR. Wouldn't it be cool to have this feature in RRB, but some bouncing here and there, e.g. you can only switch planes with the exact same BR? Yeah, so that's never been in RRB. It's there in SB, and it's also there in AB. So it's probably AB where you picked it up. It's also technically in the ground and naval modes if you have the points, right? So, I've thought about this idea for a long time. The idea of having, you know, multiple respawns in RRB, and I don't agree with it. And I think the reason is just because of how RRB works right now. Because you have 25 minutes to basically do as much as you can, right? Which isn't really long enough when you think about it. What I would actually prefer is a different thing. If they extended the maps back to like 50 minutes, then okay, fair enough. Like I'd be fine with it. But the one thing I would actually prefer, if they ended up doing it, is a different system. So instead of having a system where you are able to switch vehicles like mid-game, what if you have a lineup at the start of the game, and depending on what map you get on, you get to pick which vehicle you think will fit the map better? Because there's a lot of times, especially when I'm doing like dailies or doing like specials, where I know that, oh, well, I've gone on a map which is nowhere near as good for this idea as this other one. So it would have actually been a much better idea for me to pick this other vehicle. But I can't because I set up going with that vehicle. So that is something that I personally would be okay with moving around. I would, I mean, I don't know why this is not doing any damage to him. What the hell is that shit? So that would be something that I would prefer. Hey, cat hunting, nice to see you. Like, I would prefer it to the current situation we have, but I don't think, like, respawning in different vehicles is the way to go. I think it would be much better if we kept it to one spawn, but you basically get to pick which ones you want, or which vehicle you want to kind of start with instead. That would be much better. So we have Last Red Star. This is just me venting. It's a venting time. Let's see. I'll put on a voice. This is just me venting, but it is starting to annoy me that I joined the game too late to unlock some of the iconic prototype Vapor tanks, as well as old event vehicles or tanks and aircraft. I know you've already shared your thoughts on the matter, but with the recent 279 apocalypse, it's just more annoying that I'll never be able to get that tank, or many others, like the long-gone paper German tanks. Always happy to see the mouse coming back, though. Yeah, it's dumb. It's dumb. The whole thing's dumb. It's incredibly dumb. What's also dumb is I just don't have gun depression. What is going on with my vehicle here? Okay. Yeah, it's, I mean, as I said, we've talked about it. It's stupid. The game has been going now for however long. I don't even know. How long has this game been going? 11 years? And you have vehicles from 10 years ago, or 11, or even 12 years ago, by the way, that you just can't get access to. They're just gone. Like, good luck. Godspeed. And it's just bad. You know, it just shouldn't be set up like that. It would be much better if they just did more seasonal events with, hey, so we heard you we heard you like old vehicles. There you go. Have a bit of fun. But instead, we have a situation where they're just lost to time, and people like me and others who played the game earlier than other people just get a distinct advantage, which isn't fair and never has been. Hey, Abby, nice to see you. Hopefully you're doing alright today. I wish you could just watch post-stream and get your time. Well, it kind of defeats the point. But yeah, I get it. There we go. Do you think some of them will show up in the Warbond shop? No. When was the last time an event vehicle showed up in the Warbond shop? There was the KV-1B like however many years ago, and the TB-3M. You know. Just saying the Panther F is still out there with a turret that never left the paper it was drawn on. Well, bug report it and get it removed. Just is how it is. Sucks. Then we have the emergency broadcast system. The nerf of the M735 based on a bug reporter misreading a source and the moderators not bothering to actually check the source, along with the base respawn timer being put back to 4:30 instead of 0:30, has really put me off from this update. Instead, I've been playing a bit of Total War Napoleon. It's kind of crazy how much better that game is compared to the newer Total War games. Have you played or planning on playing any of the Total War games, new or old? On the channel, no. I'll be playing them on the secondary channel. There's actually a Warhammer playthrough on the secondary channel with Freeman, where we played the Big World map as Skaven, and that was Jesus, like that. Whew, that was a tough one until my guys started getting rolling. But we did it. Because I played the Skaven clan, which is away from everybody who just gets beaten up by lizards. So so yeah, that was a fun time. But we won. We did well. It was really fun actually. Total War campaigns are great. They just take way too much time, and that's the major issue. Like, I just don't have the time nowadays for it. I would have to really cut a lot of other stuff, and I think in general, in the future, I probably will do that. There is a mod which is coming out for Attila, or it's kind of out, but the campaign's not finished yet. It's the Dawnless Days mod. It's a Lord of the Rings conversion mod for Attila, and they're doing a full campaign, so we'll play that when it comes out. Very much looking forward to that. I played a lot of Empire Total War back in the day with Darth mod. That was super fun, and I do have most of the Total Wars. It's time, and it's always time. I'm old now, and I have obligations, and I wish I didn't sometimes, but you know, at the end of the day, it does kind of pay off, and in the future, with the way that I'm setting stuff up next year, I should have more time to do some other stuff. The M735 one, I don't know what's going on with it. I heard that there was a tech moderator where it got passed, and then another tech moderator said that it shouldn't have been passed, and now the bug report has gone through, so whoever's looked at it has decided that it's true, so then they pushed it through. So there's another tech moderator who's trying to get it denullified. So it's basically a tech moderator revolution, and just two guys who, as usual, when you bring in volunteers for these things, and they definitely never have their own biases, by the way, and it's definitely definitely all good, and there's no issues at all. Like when it comes to what sources are allowed or what isn't, yeah, it turns out there's more issues. It's just how it is. I saw that, Donny B, the dwarf one. We'll see. Like time is of the essence. I can't remember what we're playing on Monday, but we're playing something else. But yeah, there is. I think my plan next year was to on stream just kind of just play War Thunder and then see how far we can get in a year. And I think I probably will do that. But then the year after, I will spread my wings again and play other stuff. Because that's, I enjoy the variety of playing different things. Like, playing the same stuff over and over again does become very monotonous to whoever, you're dealing with. But yeah, there's always been issues with tech moderation when it comes to the War Thunder forums, and it's honestly just because you have sets of people who are really interested in very specific areas of the game, so then they only focus on those specific areas of the game, and they gatekeep it. I don't know what to say. They become the arbiter because nobody else cares enough, and it's the same thing that happens with the pass to developers stuff. It's the same thing that happens with a lot of other things. And there's not really a lot you can do about it. You just gotta keep going with it. Start a fresh camp without premium and time and see how long it takes to get to top tier. Nah, there's a gaijin. There's a rule in the EOLA which says you can't have multiple accounts. So, and as the only CC who seems to read that stuff, I don't want to break the rules, even if everybody else is allowed to with impunity. Sucks. So then we have a landed creator, 194. What would be your opinions on strike aircraft and their BR based on their ground capabilities and their air capabilities, along with possible adding a mode like Heli PvE for the way to chill, the way to grind for these aircraft, along with it not being PvP? Also, what are your thoughts for Gaijin adding... Well, let's tackle the first bit first. No is probably the answer. And the reason why it's a no is the simple fact that bots exist, and also people will just use the path of least resistance. So people will just use those modes to grind out the whole game and then sell the accounts, which is what they do already in a lot of other places. The other thing to also mention is you can already do this in Simulator, and a lot of people do this in Simulator. So it's something that already exists, because people create real lobbies and set the stuff up. There's also the PvE game mode, which is there for planes already, and if they have air-to-air armaments, then they can just do that. All these things already exist, so just do those. I don't think we need more modes in that way. I don't want the game just to become a game where people just run scripts to be able to grind out the game and then sell the accounts, which is something that already happens at the end of the day. The other thing as well is the BR based on their ground capability and air capability. So let's just go along with that idea. So how would that work? Do you sit there and do you decide before you go into a battle that you can only take certain loadouts, and therefore you have like a button which says that you can take these loadouts, but you can't take those ones before you go into the battle? So because it has to be done in this screen, right? In the hangar screen, because otherwise, you won't be able to. You won't be. You could just like, if you did it in like this screen here, like you're already loaded into the game. You're already facing the BR of the vehicle, so you'd have to do it in the hangar. I mean, the way to do these things is simple. Well, not. It's obviously not simple, but the way to do it is you just do it by modifications unlocked. So, if you have more modifications unlocked, you have a higher BR. You work out which modifications increase the efficiency of the vehicle, and you make that so when you get those, you increase the BR. That to me is the way you do these things. I don't think you need to do it around loadout or anything like that, because you just end up in a situation where it just, I don't know. I just don't know how you would set that up, like in a game sense. Just do it based on mods. So then people have the ability to be able to use the higher stuff if they want to. And the people who are lower on the ebb, who haven't got it as modified, you can use the lower stuff, right? I think that's the way to do it. I don't see any other way a system like that would work. Then the second point, sorry. Let's see. Also, what are your opinions for Gaijin-added tanks in War Thunder that have coke cages on top of them? I heard that the new T80 is getting a coke cage, or at least that is when it was shown to have. What would be your opinion on having a tank to have these massive all-around coke cages on them? Because I think they look funny, and would love to have a tank in the game like that. Thanks again, love your content. Anytime. We already do. The Challenger. So the difference between what is called a coke cage and what we have in War Thunder is nothing. They've just taken some of the thingy armor. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the anti-RPG armor, and they put it on the roof of the tank. That's it. The funny thing for me as well is now people call it a coke cage, which is, the reason why people started calling it that is because the Russians started using it, and people made memes about them not working, and, people said that Russia wasn't designed for drone warfare, yada, 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 and all this, because we're all great generals when we're sat in bloody chairs. And the interesting thing is now everybody else is using the cages too. And also has been using the cages for ages. If you have a look at like the Macavers, you have a look at the Macavers, you have a look at, as I said, the Challenger, you have a look at the APS systems, right? The APSs. Like, that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to give you a 360 coverage. It's just a physical one instead of one that you can't see, Yeah, the T-34-85 with bed springs, the slad armor, like we already have it. We just don't have the ones which are used in Ukraine because, well, it's pretty modern, and also there's, of course, the other issues with doing stuff like that. So that's the thing. But yeah, there's no reason why they won't add that stuff. There was a leak recently that they're working on a modernized version of the T80. Because there's a T80 BVM 2023, which is basically just a T80 BVM with a better transmission, and also that additional armor, and I'm sure probably a new scope because that's what they usually do as well. So yeah, it is how it is. Like they'll bring stuff like that in. There might be a bit of an issue for them when it comes to the ideas of, not wanting to annoy anybody and picking the correct time to do that stuff, but they will do it. Like, they're not gonna not do it, is the basic way of seeing it. It just depends on when they decide to do it, not if. So then we have the next one from Mr. Boo. Yeah, I'll just shoot this guy down first. I have a special task to do this, so and it's also pretty easy to do while we're doing the tech talk. Lasagna or chicken parmesan or parmesan? Probably the chicken. I have had a lot of dry ones in the past though. Unfortunately. What I really want is a chicken Kiev. So from Mr. Boo, still find it pretty strange how we didn't see any Belgian vehicle in the game, even just data mined in 11 years of this game, when even glorious Bangladesh gets a premium. Glorious Bangladesh, baby! Well, I mean, we have a bunch of vehicles from Belgium in the game. They're just not labeled Belgian vehicles because they used everybody else's crap. So, like, it's, you know, it's an EU moment, isn't it? I still would like to see some Belgium stuff, but yeah, why are these just not hitting? I'm sure they will add more stuff in the future. You know, and obviously we've talked about Belgium and the fact that they're going to come to the game. It's just a case of when and how. It'll be that Chaffee. We all know it's going to be that bloody Chaffee. Like, it won't be anything else. It'll be the Chaffee. So, I'll have a bit of fun with the Chaffers. There we go. And they have a few other things that they can add, but yeah. It's how it goes every time. Like, it'll be a bit of fun. So we have Kiwi Flyer. Hey, very general question. What's your favorite aircraft tank to play in War Thunder if you have one? Yeah, sure. So it might have changed the tank one, but the one I always enjoyed. Do you see this? They're just not hitting. The one I used to enjoy the most when it came to War Thunder was the T-92 for America. I always thought it was an incredibly versatile vehicle. Good reload, good gun depression, scouting, good mobility. You know, a bunch of different rounds so you could use in different ways. Good secondaries. The thing is, they put it up in BR. So we'll have to see what goes on with it. You know, I haven't played it since the BR changes, so I'll have to give it a go and see how it feels. But I think in general it still should feel fine. It's just one of those that has been moved, so for the aviation side of things, it's either the Hurricane, which is just a super simple vehicle, does its job well, and generally is a pretty fun vehicle. But the one I've actually more recently played that I've enjoyed is the Scimitar. And I know that's a really weird pick. Not a ton of people like the Simi. And the basic reason why people don't like the Simi is because it's got a very one direct playstyle, right? But the vehicle itself, the Simi, is incredibly what's the word? It's incredibly fast. It has missiles, it has good guns, it has a lot of really fun stuff with it. And for me, that's perfect for the vehicle, right? Like that fits me and how I play the game pretty well. So the Simi is pretty nice. Right now this is arcade, but I usually play realistic. I just have a special task for arcade, so that's why we're doing it. I play naval arcade, air realistic, ground realistic, but because of stuff such as dailies and specials, I move around a decent amount. So we have Project Nightingale. Let's see. Thanks for talking about the disability problems. I currently help in researching to bring the low 10% IQ level in a better condition. Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's do that. And then, I mean, there's so much to talk about. The higher and the highest IQ. Sitcoms like Big Bang Theory, etc., pinpointing them. But what about the other side of the medal? People that are heavily dealing with living in society. Abuse is cheap. Work power had to deal with the more limited cognitive capabilities. They also deserve to be fully integrated in society, and here's what I wrote a few times. These games we all love and play bring us together, and together we are willing to cooperate to win the match. No matter of capability, political and religious ideology and skin, that just doesn't matter. I agree. And I think one of the problems is you are right. A lot of shows do focus on the upper echelon of society, but also what you have seen nowadays is the other end as well. So obviously, I don't know about how Europe, like when it comes to their TV, because I just haven't been there for the longest time. You know, like when it comes, like I grew up in England, but you know, I never watched like German TV or French TV. Well, I did a bit, but not a lot, right? The big thing, you know, on American TV, especially when it comes to the female audience, is watching these reality TV shows. And there is some shows which are, in a way, designed to highlight certain parts of society in ways of making people understand how they think, how they look, or how they are. The problem with it is all being done for very, very negative reasons, and it is basically broadcasted bullying. I think is the way I would put it. So, for example, you have My 600 Pound Life, which, if you actually like boil it down, if you really want to, it is following two people who are grossly overweight to a point of you know, completely not being able to live a standard life, and it's following them around and sticking in their face a camera and going, hey, do the funny thing, or talk about the thing which is affecting you, so therefore people can laugh in your face and be engrossed by it. Now, a lot of people talk about, you know, being that heavy as a personal choice, which is fair. Okay, let's just say that's true. You know, there's no other factors. You know, there's no people who get absolutely annihilated when they're children, or they don't learn what's correct, or you know, they find comfort in it compared to everything else. Let's just say none of that exists, right? And it's just like the basic thing. So then you sit there and you go, okay, well, fine, whatever it is with that, fine. But now they do other shows. A lot of them are based around romance. Love on the Spectrum is one of them, where basically they take there was a New Zealand one. There was a New Zealand one, which was about people with autism. Or no, that wasn't New Zealand. I think that was like America. It was people with autism dating each other. And then there was a Down syndrome, which was from New Zealand, and that was, you know, a show about, once again, people with Down syndrome dating each other. Now, overall, when you think about those types of things, generally, there's a set of people who think it's very heartwarming, right? And I'm sure to some people it is. And also you've got the whole representation thing that people talk about. And it's really nice that everybody is getting represented more. But as a person who knows reality TV and has watched a lot of documentaries and a lot of speeches and a lot of even read a lot of papers on reality TV, you know for a fact that these shows are not being made to try and focus on them and giving them a platform to be who they are. What they are being set up for is to basically go, hey, look at the circus clown and look at how they interact with people. Oh, isn't that interesting? Look how different it is compared to you. Look how weird and quirky they decide to they deal with stuff with, right? And that's how all this stuff is set up, which is why it isn't them actually integrating into society. What it is them staying in their own part of society within their own bubble, which is why it is autistic people dating autistic people and Down syndrome people dating Down syndrome people. It is not them getting involved in general society. It is involved keeping them in a cage to be able to see their reactions with each other, which sucks, because that's, as anybody will tell you, when it comes to the way that Down syndrome works, the way that autism works, or the way that anything like this works, it is not just a switch. Like, you're either autistic or you're not, or you're either, you're right, you have these life experiences, so therefore you like this, right? So it just kind of sucks that all of the it just kind of sucks that, yes, you have these shows which are technically representing people more and who they are, but the issue is it is being done for profit and also not done for the right reasons. Just like the overweight stuff, it is done for people to oogle and go, oh, look at those weird people, I'm gonna watch the show about the weird people. And that is not how any of this should be set up. And I'm hoping in the future that there can be stuff. We'll talk about it in a few years. I'll put it like that. Like there are some things that are going to be done, which are going to be more focused around certain aspects of life and how it all works and how it all goes. So we'll talk about it then. Hey Harker, nice to see you. Hopefully you're doing good today. But yeah, it reminds me of, whenever I watch anything like that, it reminds me of Jeremy Kyle or Jerry Springer. Okay, let's get these people on who are obviously, thicker than wood, or people are on the lower end of society, and let's make them do silly stuff so we can laugh at them like a circus. Right? And that is not how any of this should be. And yeah, I honestly think that, and even when it comes to the way a lot of people see this stuff, it is fundamentally wrong. And as I said, we'll go through it in the future, because there is some things, because there are people around me who are affected by a lot of these things, whether it be family members, whether it be different members of society, whether it be my friends, like some of them that I know. And we'll go through it and kind of show what it's like. We'll do it on a separate platform, and I'll let you guys into it when it more comes, when people become more comfortable with dealing with this stuff, right? And that's the main thing at the end of the day. What do I think of the submarine event? I think it's very good. It shows exactly what submarines are like in War Thunder. If they do not have any support, basically you can't do anything with them and you'll just die over and over again. So, don't like the fact how they're limited though. Find that a little bit weird. Don't know why that's the case, but yeah, they've limited them in odd ways. But yeah, it's just kind of how it is. That kind of show sickens me, and I'll burn them alive for greed and misuse of people with mental problems. Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, won't talk about it, Moxie, but yeah, you're affected by that stuff too, right? Like, it makes me very annoyed. Very annoyed. How old am I? I'm 30. Alright. So we have 109,57558. Still waiting for Poland to get into the game, and I know you will say it would be copy and paste tree, but it's not like you're required to play all tech trees. And Poland has some cool vehicles and possible lineups to play. You can get the 2A5, M1A1, F-16, MiG-29 in one lineup. Nobody's obligated to play any of the game. That's very true. I just don't want more nations added that nobody will play. So if you haven't been, looking around recently, there's 3 nations that 90% of people play. Let's have a look. America, USSR, Germany, America, Britain, Israel, Britain, Germany, Soviet. Soviet, Germany, Germany, China, and America. Oh, there's a guy in the air. 2 seconds. Let's see. Germany, Israel. Germany, 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 Israel. Germany, oh sorry, Soviet, Germany, Israel, Israel. Then Soviet, Soviet, Germany, Sweden, Germany, America. Are we seeing a pattern? So I think not just for the good of the game, but for the good of the actual nation itself, I think it's actually better if they're added as subtech trees so people actually play them. You know? Because right now, if you add them as an independent tree, nobody plays them. There will be a very, very small amount of people who would even bother looking at it. But if you have a look at the example of Hungary, and Finland, and South Africa, when it comes to the game, 3 very powerful examples now, when you think about it. You now have a set of nations which are represented in War Thunder. Everybody talks about them as if they are Finnish and South African and Hungarian because they are. And people actually play them because they're part of other tech trees. Now, if you want the name at the bottom of the screen, I'm sure what they could do is they could change what the major nation is called. But you'll have your flag and you'll have your vehicles. And one lineup doesn't make jack all. You know what's hilarious about this lineup here? You could also technically have it for Germany too. So just play Germany. If you wanna do stuff like that. But yeah. It's crazy. Surprisingly, there's a decent amount of Israelis in this match. It's pretty cool. But yeah, the simple thing about it is the more nations you add, it doesn't increase variety in the game. Especially with a nation like Poland, because they don't have a lot of variety to offer. So it would be much better as an event or subtech tree, you know? I have a mate saying he doesn't want to play the South African vehicles because it's not British. I want them to rename the tree to Commonwealth to get rid of this stupid issue people have. Well, I mean, everybody's allowed to have moronic opinions, but that one is very moronic. What do you class as a British vehicle? One that was served in... one that was put into British service? There's many vehicles in that tech tree that are British, but were not used by Britain. Is the Vickers Mark 7 a British vehicle, even though it was never going to be used by Britain? Because of who developed it? I don't know. It's very weird to me. It's very weird to me, like, how people just put these, like, barriers in their head. Like, I'm going to limit myself for no apparent reason, apart from to well, I don't even know. Like, why bother? Like, why not just enjoy life? Seems like much more fun to me. How did you die? Oh dear. Like, it's a video game. Like, nobody cares about your nationalistic feelings. Sorry. Oh god. Because for every crazy nationalist, I can find another one equally on the other side. And they're probably a lot more fun than the other ones. I do want to, like, learn why people put these, like, mental barriers in the way of how they think. I find it fascinating. So we have Aldo Carulli. Am I getting bum rushed again? No, we're good. I don't know where the plane's coming in there. Oh, there it is. Alright, let's just shoot this guy down first. Or we just miss. Hey Tech and chat, and how you doing? Doing alright. Back's hurting a bit, but apart from that, we're good. First of all, thank you for saying you like my name. When I was a kid, they always mocked me, so you're saying that makes me smile, but enough blog posting. I'm here to ask about subs. People made fun of Aldo Carulli. I always heard the one which always got me, which I found funny, was Dwayne Pipe. As a as a name going around. That one was pretty fun. I've been playing the event, and I must say that I really enjoy being the submarine and the submarine hunter. It's a cool cat and mouse gameplay loop that works good within the event, but I think that this kind of gameplay would not really work in naval. Either subs will be extremely overpowered, good luck being a Fletcher class, following a sub in the middle of the open sea while getting lit up by everything, or a Catalina trying to strafe it with some bombs when they're peppered by a wall of AA, so the subs will be uncounterable, or subs would be worthless by adding huge countermeasures or nerfs to it, like the 2k guidance on the torps being even less. What do you think about it? And thank you again. Keep up the good work. Anytime. I've been enjoying it a lot this last little bit, so it's been good. So when I think about the submarines, and I mean we've completed 2 of the tasks now. I'm not hugely into the event, and the basic reason of it is because it gives such a unrealistic portrayal of what subs will be like when they come to War Thunder, like in the standard tag trees, right? Like when I think about how subs are gonna work, I look at like the way that the event goes, and they as said, they're just never gonna work like that in the game. So for me, I understand that the way that subs will be is they'll just spawn and then just shoot torps and then just keep doing that over and over again. I don't think they'll do anything else. And right now in the event, subs are massively outperformed by the destroyers because of the artificial nerfs that the submarines have, and also because of the fact that you can just run at them with what feels like arcade mechanics with the destroyers. Like, it's so much easier to get the score on the American side. The other thing is also just the spotting. Like, the spotting makes it so easy to see the submarines, and from the air you can see them, like with the Catalina, super easily. So my thoughts on the event is, it's nice to show the models of the submarines. It's nice to show the general mechanics of how they're going to work. I think they really need to think about the sphere of influence, like how big it is compared to the stuff, and also when you're in a plane. Oh, sorry. I don't think it should show on the tactical map where the submarines are. I think that generally is a bit of a problem. But yeah, if you're in a destroyer, you just run at the submarines, and I mean they can throw torpedoes, but as I said, you can just maneuver. So it doesn't really work very well, which is a bit of a problem. I personally think they'll add them probably in the coming year, and then they're working on carrier stuff as well, and that to me that is way more terrifying than anything they'll bring along with any of the other stuff. Like that is going to be crazy when they decide to bring that in. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the next week, like the changes they make to the mode. Like I don't think it stays the same. I think they will try a bunch of different stuff, try different things with it. I just don't think it'll stay stagnant because the balance is just not there right now. And obviously, this is supposed to be like a testing event, right? Like they're not just going to leave it stagnant. So we'll see what goes on with it. Looking forward to see what they do. So then we have D Jesse Gamer. What about Spanish vehicles? Personally, I have made a few suggestions on the forum. Sure, why not? Fuck it, you know. That's the standard response. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't be added. Add them to the French tech tree. Go Franco, go. Alright. Any nation should be added, just not as an independent nation. I feel like I'm saying the same stuff over and over again. But why not? Same way at Papa Stalin. Salutations, Tech and Chat. Monet France is cringe, just accept it. As for you, Tech, when will you be gaining fully admit to putting all these bots on a dying game? Yeah, there was 250,000 people online earlier today. Just keeps growing, just keeps swimming, just keeps swimming. It's crazy. We haven't even had the celebration for 200k yet. What's going on? Yeah, the VRCC is already in the game. Pretty cool vehicle. Has one of the best pre-order decals as well. Don Quixote. But yeah, it's just nuts to think about how many people are playing the game right now. Like, it really is wonderful to see, you know. Not just from the point of view that, you know, I've been saying for many years that when you actually have a look at War Thunder and what it does, it is an incredibly special game. It's more just the fact that I'm glad that more and more people are enjoying it as much as I do. Because there's not really many other games that I feel like do that on a regular basis for many people. And it just makes me happy, really. Simple as. And we have Zagatej. I just hope they will add the hamburger in War Thunder. What is the hamburger? Would be cool if they did a collaboration with Mackey's. The funny one for me, I had Dairy Queen yesterday. Wow. Very low quality on their food. Because basically we went to a wedding yesterday, and no, there wasn't Dairy Queen at the wedding, but so the service was at 1 p.m. and then it finished at 1:30, and then the reception was at 5 in a different city. So we had to go from the church to the reception, but there was like a 3-hour like wait to not do anything. So we ended up going to like a family member's house. We watched the hockey. We watched the Oilers get spanked by Nashville. Like, I think it was like 5-2 at the end. Absolutely disgraceful. Should be banned from the NHL. Ooh, what is that? But then, so we watched that, and then also at the same time, we ordered Dairy Queen because, I don't know, people think that if you're at a family thing, you need to order food. I don't know why. So I got like a cheeseburger fry, and then like not a frosty thing, but like the ice cream with the caramel. It was terrible. It was awful. It was absolutely disgusting. Like, it was worse than McDonald's, and McDonald's is really bad. Like it honestly like hurt my stomach because I don't usually eat a lot of fast food. Like I'm not a huge person into fast food. I don't like fast food. I don't eat a lot of it. Like it's just one of those things that if we are traveling somewhere, sometimes I pick it up, but I'd rather just have prepared food that we've made, right? I think that's so much nicer. And yeah, it was just really, really bad. And I was kind of worried because it actually made my stomach kind of twist and turn. So yeah, I was kind of worried about going to the reception because we're going to be drinking a decent amount and all that. Yeah, might be a bit crazy, but it wasn't very good. Do you still enjoy that much after all the countless hours of playing? Yeah. Yeah, I'm the kind of person where if I don't enjoy doing something, I don't do it, you know. Doesn't really matter the monetary side of it or anything like that. It honestly is like if I get bored with something, I put it down and find something else, because for me this is a hobby. You know, it isn't a livelihood. So I have, you know, my standard work stuff, which I put a lot of effort into and also really enjoy, by the way. It's pretty fun. And then I have this stuff, which is, you know, an additional thing, but not a lot, like a very small percentage of, you know, the overall taking in. And I'm in a position where I would hope everybody would be, where it's like, okay, well, I'm not really enjoying this game. Maybe I should play another game, right? So whenever I do get kind of sick of War Thunder, or, you know, don't really feel like playing it, I just don't play it. I just, you know, I just play other stuff. And I honestly believe everybody should do that. You shouldn't force yourself to play things you don't want to play. There is no reason to do that in this world, which has so much opportunity when it comes to video games. There's so many free-to-play games now. Just an insane amount of different stuff. So just play it and have fun. Like, try different things, you know. If you ever feel like you're playing it because you have to play it, just put it down. Go to like Fanatical or like Humble Bundle, or go to any of those things and you know, just have a bit of a look at different stuff and work out what you want to play, and just buy like 3 or 4 story games for like $5. just enjoy yourself, you know. That's how it should be. None of this like, ah, well, you know, I can't afford anything and so I can't do it. It's like, okay, fine, just there's millions of free-to-play games. Just go enjoy those, you know. This guy will not die. Hey, King the Kiwi, nice to see you. Hopefully you're doing good today. I'm doing good. What do you think? Should the F4EJ Kai and the F16AJ get the new missile? No, they don't need it. Just because something is there doesn't mean it should exist. If they perform like shit, then they should get the new missile. If they don't, then they shouldn't. How did the Tyran kill that guy? Like, that's pretty much how all this stuff goes, you know? No need to add stuff to things if they're already performing well, and if they're not performing well, add stuff to them. Easy peasy, lemon and pie, kiss the girls, make them cry. There you go. Do you know if the SU-39 pack or the SU-25K pack is a better purchase during the sale? So when the sale comes online, I don't know when it's going to come online. Probably Monday, right? I'll do a set of videos about them, so we'll go through them all, don't worry. Simple as. So we have Pakele. We need Turkey with the M60 and the Leopard Span. Okay. I know lineups are super important, and, you know, they're something that definitely draws people to play different tech trees. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's something that is massively one of those things that should be hugely focused on right now. I don't know how many times I can play another M60. Radiator. Interesting. But yeah. So we have emergency broadcast, only sleeping 6 hours. I usually just stop functioning after a few 6-hour nights. Are you a coffee, tea, or energy drink tea drinker? So university, there was a stretch of time I slept every other day. That was definitely not healthy, but it was something I was able to do a long time. Even after I was out of university for many years, I slept about 3 or 4 hours. There was a stretch of time I slept for about 2 hours, and I just couldn't sleep because I had way too much stuff on my mind, trying to figure stuff out and kind of pushing stuff forward. I still do, but I try my best to sleep more now, and try and make it, a little bit easier on the body. Focusing on more health stuff and things like that. But the simple fact is, it's just natural to me. Like, my missus drinks a decent amount of tea and coffee and stuff like that. For me, like, I sometimes do, but it's not something that's like part of the daily ritual. I've never needed stimulants. When it comes to being awake or doing anything like that, I always thought it was actually a negative for me to have that stuff because I already work at like a ridiculous rate. I don't need I don't need that extra gear. Like that's probably would go into like the danger zone. So for me it's just I don't know, like different people sleep different amounts. Like my father doesn't sleep a lot and never has, and he's like 60 now, and he's just going as he goes. Like it's the major issue I have is I can't shut my brain up, and not in like a negative way, just in a way of like, okay, let's figure this thing out. Okay, that's how we're gonna do that. All right, on to the next thing. Yada yada yada, and that was just incredibly rude. And that's just how all this stuff goes. Like that's how my brain functions. And for a lot of people, they can't do that. There has to be breaks, or there has to be like relaxation or de-stressing or whatever it is. But for me, I don't know. I'm the opposite. If I get in a situation where I'm just like not doing anything and I'm not focusing on anything and I'm just like kind of sat there and not doing too much, I just get bored and have to find stuff to do. I'm not one of those people that can just like sit in front of the TV and just watch stuff. I have to be doing something while doing it. That's why I kind of like putting sports on in the background while I do other stuff. I'm sure many other people do that too. When I was in school, like when I was doing my GCSEs 16, 17, or 15, 16, sorry, because I did maths early. The the energy drink that I did drink because I had so many exams. Like I picked all of the things, all of the ones which had the exams in. Don't they call that ADHD? No, it's not ADHD. ADHD is very different. Um, the What was I saying? Yeah, so one of the things that you could do at AS and A level was I very much believed in the whole idea of not learning stuff through just basic facts, but instead learning mechanisms behind how you get to the points of those facts. So, like in chemistry, one of the most important things about chemistry is understanding why certain things react with each other, and also the basic laws of thermodynamics and how all of that goes together, right? So how are bombs formed and all of that different stuff. And nowadays, if I have a look at a lot of the other things that I do, a lot of it is just about learning the base foundation of things and kind of going from there. But there's a lot of subjects that I had to learn over the years, which were very exam heavy, which were from that general mode. What is that, by the way? Oh, it's like a piece of the castle. So it meant that I used to have a metric ton of fucking exams. Like my GCSEs, what did I do? So I did history because we had to do some humanities. History, geography. I did IT or ICT at the time. I did chemistry, physics, biology. I did maths. I did advanced maths. And then also, what else did I do? English literature, English language, and I did French. So, and then at A level, I did maths, further maths, physics, chemistry, and English literature. Those were like all the subjects that I ended up doing. So we would have these like two week periods where I would have 3 exams or 2 exams every day from Monday to Friday, which was very enjoyable. And the same thing with university. Like the first and second year of university, I had like, especially in the called it the fall semester, which was like September to December. I had exams for like 2 weeks straight, and one of the last days where the exams were on was like the 23rd of December. So the first year that I was there in Calgary, I had an exam on the 23rd of December, and I wanted to go back to England for the thing, like for the what do you call it, for the holiday, because it was the first time I was like away from home. And what ended up happening with it is I got a flight on the 24th of December, so Boxing Day, and then I got back home, and then it was, well, there you go. It was now Christmas. Merry Christmas. And then the semester started again on the 1st of January. So I had like, I don't even know, a 5-day period where 2 of it was like flying back and forth. And then at that point, after that, like we discussed it, and it was like, yeah, there's no point in me like going home like for Christmases, because like, okay, like you're there for, well, I don't even know, you're there for like a few days, and then you might as well go home. So I just ended up not going back for Christmas, and that was the last Christmas I've actually spent in the UK with the fam. So yeah, always enjoyable. I have gone back, summers and stuff like that, but Christmas wise, that was the last one. Which kind of sucks. I miss the whole thing, but it is how it is. So anyway, back to the point. For my GCSEs, I had to, since I had I had so many of these bloody exams, and I was pretty much conked out in the second week, and I ended up starting drinking Relentless, which is this energy drink, which I'm pretty sure is still in the UK. But the version that I drank, I don't know if it's still there or not, because there used to be a warning on it where if you drank like 7 in an hour, you would have issues with heart attacks, which was always fun to read about. But the only other time I've ever really done energy drinks or anything like that, or felt like I needed them, is probably a better way of putting it, was during when we did the 24-hour streams on Twitch. And that's more about the fact that you're having to focus on multiple things at the same time while streaming. So, for example, we have the gameplay, which is the easiest part, by the way. Just, playing and wandering about the place. You have the chat, you have the alerts, you have the actual stream itself to see how that's going. And then you have, of course, right now we're recording for YouTube, so I have to think about what I'm saying, to not get banned, or to, terms of service stuff. And then also at the same time, we have the actual questions themselves. So you have all of these different links, which all interlink with each other, but you have to focus on them all, equally at the same time a lot of the time. So if you do that for a long enough period, it kind of can get pretty tiring. So for the 24-hour streams, I brought out some energy drinks. We did some Beaver Buzz, but they don't sell Beaver Buzz in my area, so not anymore anyway. So we're down to basic Monster. But I haven't done any of those streams in a long time, basically because, well, once we talked about it before, the lack of time. The GCSE and A-level exams are even worse now. They do all of them in the second year in a single month. I swear the government is just trying to break kids. Yeah, probably. Then again, like the people who graduated or, got stuff during COVID, I mean, they got a lucky break. Because they basically just got gifted their GCSEs, which was kind of nuts. Hey, Krieger, nice to see you. So then we have the next one, which is from Ada DK. Good old Donkey Kong. Simple solution to one spawn levers issue in Grand AB RB. Just make it bannable or impossible to only launch the game with 1 or 2 tanks in a lineup. Punishment is the way to go here. Short games are cancer for the fun at high BR. Another potential fix could be some sort of MM that does take into account the spread of the bads more evenly on teams. And ban/make it impossible to make fail platoons. Water tanks did that ages ago, and it worked there. I don't see why it couldn't work in War Thunder. So when it comes to the one death leaving thing, what'll end up happening if you just ban people running lineups like that? People will just stick other stuff in their lineups and just not spawn in it, and then just leave the game anyway. So, and as we've talked about many times, there are certain games where if you have spawned once and you die after a period of time and you are looking at the rest of the map and observing what is going on. So, for example, in this, right? Let's say my team goes over here, gets slaughtered, and also these guys get slaughtered here. So therefore the enemy takes positions here, and they take positions here, and they take positions here, which is generally... Oh, well, sorry, you can't see the map. But here, here, and then here. Right? So they take A and B. If they do that, and let's say I'm near C, and then I die, and we've done okay at C, but I see if I spawn in again, they're just looking at my spawn, and I'm not going to spawn in again. And at high tiers, because vehicles are so mobile, and because they move around so quickly, this happens at an increasing amount compared to other areas. So that's it really. Like I don't really have too much of an issue with the whole one spawning thing. Because as we know now, after the many changes they've made, hey Multigrade, nice to see you. After the many changes they've made to how the game work, it isn't actually beneficial to only spawn once. It's actually beneficial to elongate your time in a battle and do as much as you can. So they've already brought in the fact that it makes more sense to stay in the battle longer. They've also made it so it makes more sense to spawn in more times. They've also made it easier to do so with the premium time change and also the percentage, repair cost over time thing. People still do it, and the reason they do it is because they don't want to play other stuff. And a lot of the people who do it are experienced players, and they're grinding out a specific thing, and they just want that. And I remember years ago, when I said all of this stuff, there was many people who were very annoyed at me all the time, because it went against the standard narrative of why people only spawn once. But it's all true. The vast majority of the time, it isn't people who are new to the game who just bought a high tier premium. Those ones are just the most physically obvious ones when something goes like that. The vast majority of the time, it's experienced players who are just trying to grind out a specific thing, or just only want to play one vehicle and move along. Like do like a daily or something like that. The cheaters don't care what's more efficient, stay in the battle longer. They just get their 2 or 3 kills, die and leave. I mean, I'm not one of those people who thinks that cheating is rampant in War Thunder, so I don't like gameplay decisions like that being made around cheaters. Personally. But yeah. It's just kind of how it is. They're good. I mean, I think when it comes to squads, they should actually put in a BR limiter. I've said that for the longest time. I'm sick of people, like, because the vast majority of the time that people do get up-tiered in squads, it isn't actually because, you know, oh, we'll have a bit of fun with each other. It's because somebody has brought them up into a BR because they're trying to be a dickhead. Like they're basically just trying to like be like, ha ha, look what I did to you, isn't that funny, ha ha ha. And it's like, well, no, actually, you just made this person have a very negative experience. They're going to be annoyed, and everybody else around them's going to be annoyed too, and the people are going to blame that person and not you, even though you're the idiot. So yeah, it's just how it is. It sucks in that way. So yeah, it's it would be cool if at some point they did something about that. I'd be fine with it. I understand the whole player choice thing, and you know, people should be able to play what they want. But if they want to play that stuff, they can play that at the BR that it's supposed to be at, instead of other BRs. Simple as. Nothing else is needed. They sunk my battleship. Then we have Sakyuz. You're already level 18 battle pass. How? So this will be last week, right? I bought the upgraded battle pass. I always buy the upgraded one. It gives you 15 levels straight away, so means that it's easier to get to the 250. Otherwise, I would have to consistently play the game all the time. Where now, technically, it gives me like a 2-week break, which is quite good. Something that I'm pretty happy with. Between the battle passes, like this battle pass, I have not been anywhere near as prolific as I usually am. Like, I haven't done this. I usually would have done this by now. I usually would have done this by now. You know, I'm like 7 or 5 specials behind. I've just been doing dailies and nothing else. And that is honestly just because War Thunder's been going through a pretty crazy time right now. So I've been trying to cover all the stuff that's been going on, and it's just there's stuff everywhere. Like, it's crazy. And hopefully we can keep going. But yeah, I do need to do the special tasks and the challenges. We'll do them next week. So we have Ghost OD. Naval is pointless. Oh, fair. And a hacker's haven, because less people play, less people care, so people are less inclined to actually do anything about it, especially the botting thing. When I see a Chinese player and I see 2k deaths and 4k kills in the USS Helena, I already know the deal, followed by a positive KD in every tank. We'll report them then. Guardians put out many statements about the fact that they want these people gone, so do it. And at the same time, Naval isn't pointless. You know, people do enjoy the game mode. It's not everybody's cup of tea, neither's ground, neither's aviation. But at the end of the day, it isn't taking any resources really away from anything else by existing. And it means that people can enjoy stuff that they want to enjoy. Best thing to do against people you think are cheating is to report them. It's pretty much as simple as that. If you don't report them, then nothing ever gets done about it. And as somebody who had a period of time where I ran into a lot of cheaters, well, they're not even technically. I mean, cheating's the wrong word for it. Botting is the word that I like to use for it, because that's what it actually is. It's just running scripts, so the game is playing itself in Naval. It's not people like... It's technically a form of cheating, but it's not the cheating that people think of when when it's brought up. So yeah, it's just one of those things that will hopefully get solved with time. I see a lot less nowadays, or it might just be because they've changed what type of vehicles that they use. It'll always be something that's prevalent because it's very easy to make an account, and also at the same time, it's very easy to make an account, and it's also incredibly easy to, do stuff like that. But hopefully in the future, they can get a full grasp on it. The way that they're dealing with it now is a lot better than it used to be. So that's always nice. Thank you for the Prime subscription, Leon G. Thank you for supporting the channel. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. So we have Kemian, where Poland treat. Don't know. When we can, I mean, I've looked at all the proposals and they're all trash. So, if you can find me a proposal that isn't trash, then I will be 100% behind you. But at this moment, at this time of my life, on the 5th of the 11th, 2023, every single suggestion for a Polish tech tree has been completely useless. Thank you. So we have the bastard sunglasses. Hi, Tech. Hi. This is not about War Thunder, but rather about Enlisted. Do you think Enlisted will be on Steam? I mean, they said that they weren't going to put it on Steam. They don't like Steam as a platform, just because of a bunch of issues that they've had in it previously. I know a lot of people look at the success of War Thunder on Steam, which is always, nice to look at, but people forget about all of the other games that Gaijin has under its umbrella, which haven't had a lot of success on Steam. The other thing as well is with War Thunder, which many people point towards when they talk about Enlisted and where it should be distributed and not distributed, is the fact that, let's just do this, is the fact that the amount of people who actually play War Thunder on Steam is still a minority of people compared to everything else. So, yeah, it's just a bit odd, isn't it, when you think about it? Like, for example, Crusade Fawad, the fantastic name. Cuisine Royale 2nd edition, the Fill of All Desires, or whatever it is. It has 290 people, 24-hour peak. It did go through a period where it had a few thousand, 2,000 when Battle Royales were getting big and everybody was enjoying it. In 2020, it got to 4,000, 8,000 at some point. Like when the game released, tons of players. Everybody loved it. And now nobody plays it. Because it doesn't really offer anything great. You have a look at pretty much all of the other games that are associated with Gaijin. They just, they've had issues with it in the past and they've talked about it. Should games from a consumer perspective be available in as many places as possible? Of course. It's always positive. But I will always say the same thing I always say when it comes to these things. Like, yes, from a consumer perspective, it works. Now, there are two sides to each coin. What does the other side say? Yeah? Is it beneficial from the company's point of view? And the next stage of the conversation is the person goes yes because it's opened up to more people. And then we do the next stage of the conversation, which is, well, if it was that simple, why would they have not done it? And then we go on to the next stage of the conversation, which is, because they're stupid. And then I leave the conversation. There you go. Oh dear. I think it's because $70 for DigiJet is kind of not quantity pricing that the masses would accept. Well, we're talking about Enlisted. War Thunder is on Steam, so like, yeah, people do buy stuff on Steam from War Thunder. We're talking about Enlisted, slightly different business model. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It also means if you put it on that platform, it might have ramifications in the future about putting it on other platforms. But that's the thing I always wondered, why Gaijin don't have a launcher for all this stuff. But then again, when I think about it, a lot of companies tried the launcher stuff and they went back to the Steam model, or just going on Steam or going on to other places. So maybe it's different. I don't know. But yeah. Usually when a company doesn't do something which is seen as really simple and really like beneficial, there is usually several reasons why they don't do it, right? Because nobody just turns around and goes, you know what? Like, I don't want free money. Free money is against my morals. Especially companies. And companies usually don't have moral convictions, you know, in any way, shape, or form. These guys are a little bit harder to hit from range, but we can do it. Sorry, I'm just shooting these guys. There we go. I think that's the end of the questions, by the way, on the Tech Talk. Yeah, it is. So, do any of you have any questions that you want to go through? Anything that you want to sort out? Obviously, I just quit, as once again I get slaughtered by the Panzer IV-H. Oh. I shot him flat on the side with the 67 shot from the USAM 4A5 105, which has 130 pen. But still, the Panzer with less armor isn't getting destroyed. And this happened about 1 time in the last 3 days. So yeah, no wonder less and less people play every day. Most of my good old friends haven't played this in 2 years. Now that narrative is really fun, but there's 250,000 people online right now. So, from a personal perspective, it might be the fact that a lot of people you know don't play as much anymore. A lot of the people that I know don't play as much anymore, but that's because they're a bit older and they have other obligations nowadays. Oh, fucking hell. Why are you here? But yeah, the idea that the narrative that there is the War Thunder player base is getting smaller and smaller and nothing's going on and everything's tiny is a lie. Like, I don't know. There's more people playing War Thunder than ever. It's kind of crazy. How many active players in War Thunder? Well, if at one time you have over 200,000 on a weekend, which happens what seems to be every weekend at the moment. Let's say that's active at the same time, and the average person is online for, let's say, 2 hours on a weekend. So just do 200k times, what, 12? And that's obviously complete assumptions, but there you go. A lot of games are like that though. Basic awards and says only 10% of players have this, not just War Thunder. What, you mean like the stream title things? Like, you mean the Steam achievements? As I said, most people don't play War Thunder through Steam. But yeah, you've also got to remember that that takes into account everybody who's downloaded the game. And if you have a look at good old Gaijin website, as it says, there has been what was it, like 50 million accounts or something that have been created. So, because it's a basic free-to-play game and it's open to everybody, looking at stats of percentage of players have X achievement doesn't really give you a great story, you know. Do you think Gaijin will bring back older event vehicles? I hope so. I have no faith in them doing it because this would have been a perfect time to do it in the anniversary, kind of like what they did last year. I don't know why they decided not to do it. Because last year they brought back like 10, right? For the 10th anniversary, you know. Like right now, you know, after European time, so going into an A time, there's 157,000 people online. I know you can't see it, so I'll just, here you go. In the top left. So it's kind of crazy. Crazy times, man. Thank you for the raid, Hexacube. That's very kind of you. I think they believe the TOG 2 is enough for this anniversary because last year was the Storm Tiger. Yeah, but also last year they brought back 10 event vehicles because it was the 10th anniversary. They basically brought back all of the event vehicles for the previous period of time. So yeah, War Thunder is a huge game. Like, okay, we can talk about it again. Just remember, Steam is not the main platform of War Thunder. Okay? War Thunder currently at the moment is 10th in the whole of Steam. It's above Call of Duty. It's above Cyberpunk 2077. It's above Rainbow Six Siege, Lost Ark, DayZ, Warframe, Ark, both Arks, 7 Days to Die, Euro Truck Simulator, Dead by Daylight, all of these things. The games that are above War Thunder, CS2, obviously, Dota 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Apex Legends, PUBG, like the fine
46.
No, be quiet. Apex Legends, PUBG Battlegrounds, so the finals playtest. I don't know why people are interested in that. Rust, Team Fortress 2, Grand Theft Auto 5, and then War Thunder. Like, it's crazy. Thank you for the raid, Lordon. That's very kind of you, man. Hopefully you had a good stream. Hopefully everything went well. But yeah, so this idea that War Thunder is losing player base or going down or any of this is nonsense. It has been for years. I have taken a lot of flack over the years about these points because there's always going to be a minority set of people who are angry about, you know, whatever it is, and have decided that everybody has exactly the same opinions as them, even though it is not true and never will be. But all you have to do is look at the numbers. Simple as. Yeah, TF2 is huge, but it's a Valve game, right? So they can heavily promote it on their own platform. Right, that's the end of the tech talk. I really need to stretch. But thank you for joining me for the tech talk. We'll continue to stream afterwards, so don't worry. But yeah, if you want to catch these live, make sure to come to the Twitch channel. I'll be a little bit more high energy next week. I'm a bit tired and hurting, but we'll be okay. Look after yourselves. Peace be with you. Bye bye.